now, works with pretty much everything you want to do as a team composition. Safe lineup, does what you want it to do.
Very comfortable to just blind that. I think most teams at this point are very happy to just go for a blind Ezreal if the option is open to them. Leona been banned away though, so the safest, easiest combo for the Ezreal not going to be on the board, and in fact it's going to be Lucian as a priority here. Only Tristana and LeBlanc banned away from that mid lane, but Lucian comes out from Angel despite the Corki being up.
And we have seen Lucian beat Corki in the first few levels of the game. I will say Lucian is more mechanically intensive than the Corki right now because you are lower range. You don't get to play around rockets and fast bombs being slightly longer range. When you can get that piercing light through the wave, you can very much get some good control over that lane, even though when we first started seeing it, even players like Knight, Chovy were really struggling to make this pick work. We started seeing it pick up steam. There was a quadra kill for UCal recently. There was a quadra kill for XiaoFang as well. Feels like we're starting to warm back up into Lucian mid-meta, and Angel wants to try his hand at it.
And to be fair to Angel, he's played 3 games of Corki and lost them all. He's played 1 game of Lucian, won it with a flawless KDA. So if I'm Angel, anecdotally, I want the Lucian, not the Corki right now as well. Hery gonna grab himself a cannon for that top side to go up against the croc of Solokill and straight into AD carry bans with the Ezreal already locked in for OMG.
Okay, so because of this, OMG got their magic damage from somewhere. Hery's likely going to have a winning lane with that cannon versus Renekton. Renekton can sometimes snowball that with the help of jungle, but importantly, OMG have themselves that magic damage. It means that Tianzhen doesn't have to play an AP carry. We don't know whether he's adapted to that meta just yet. He's only played the Rengar and the Sejuani. Now both of them are banned. Wouldn't surprise me still to see Tianzhen going towards something which can be a little bit more bruiser, a little bit more engaged, because that's currently something that OMG lack as a team comp right now.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Tianzhen as a player over the time he's played in LPL, like you've got things like the Vi, obviously very high in terms of play rate, but obviously Vi was just extremely strong in the meta over the last sort of 12 months. But also one thing that stands out alongside is Sejuani. Sejuani 4 games, 75% win rate. Maokai also 4 games, 75% win rate. EDG well aware of that fact and try and remove it from the board. We just talked about the Vi being something that Tianzhen has lent on in the past. It's been a successful pick for him. He's got 12 games in his career with a 50% win rate. He locks it in again.
And on the other side, EDG, what are they looking for? Leave, potentially going towards that Kaiser. He's had some good moments on this. He's had some disastrous moments on this too. That last series versus Team WE, the last play of the game was him pulling a bit of a cream and kind of ulting into the sun. Not so great, but it is a champion which can allow now both Cryin and Leave to reposition in team fights. I do think the positioning of Leave and Cryin has been very, very suspect in some of the big team fights. Having these champions gives you that extra ability to just immediately reposition and get damage down. That's potentially quite good for EDG to shore up some of their weaknesses within team fights, get some extra engage through from Wink as well. EDG, good all-round composition, strong lane, strong team fight, and it gives a lot of comfort to paper over the cracks of some of the weaknesses of EDG.
And Ppgod goes for the Nautilus. I feel like Ppgod Nautilus just feels right, doesn't it? I feel like when all of the champions are available, Ppgod is probably going to go for the Nautilus. It's just so comfortable for him. Obviously Thresh, a bit of an OG pick for him back in the day as well. I mean, he's showed plenty of stuff over the years, but it just feels like Nautilus is his mainstay. Does decently into that Rakan in the bottom side as well. Little surprised to see Wink going for the Rakan over the Nautilus, especially when you've got Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa Nautilus just such an insanely strong 2v2.
We have seen Rakan slowly coming back into the fore. I think one of the big problems before was that Rakan wasn't tanky enough compared to the other engaged champions. Leona the tankiest, you have Alistar in there too, and then you have stuff like the Nautilus as well. What Rakan does is give you some good laning priority because your Q gives you that heal, and it means that if the other player is going for a melee support, you tag the Q. You win pretty much every trade right now, so then maybe that's Wink going towards that. Also, it's one of his specialty champions too. He did a lot of good work while he was over on IG. Left that roster to come here to EDG to bring some of his veterancy to bear. Need to see if that will be a wise pick though, because that, again, that Kai'Sa is very, very important combination on the whole. Go away from that one. EDG, they have themselves good mobile carries. They have Jiejie on someone who can bring some extra damage too. This looks on paper a little bit better for EDG compared to their weaknesses so far. On the other side, OMG, snap, engage. They can play the game fast. That works towards themselves too. The Vi, the Nautilus, pick off someone out of position, immediately pounce with all of their mobility and big team fight engage. I'm hoping it's going to lead to a lot of scraps. It feels like it's on paper, and that's exactly what I want to see between these two teams.
I'm definitely right there with you. Early game scrapping. Vi is something we don't see often anymore. but he's bringing it out. Tianjin on OMG on a classic pick for him. Let's see if he can make it work.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎。
I feel like we're seeing as well, Renekton and Brand in the top side. This is sort of the new Renekton Nidalee, right? Where you've got the Renekton to set up and the massive AP damage to follow it up. We don't see as much Nidalee as we previously have. But Brand sort of filling that hole. As Jiejie might go for a late invade here, but Tianjin going to spot that ward out. Yep. Should be able to solo start his red without being spotted for the time being.
Yeah, so Brand level 1 isn't great. I will say Vi has one of the weakest level 1 and 2s in the entire game. Something I remember that Dom and Gilius were talking about quite a lot when Vi was really meta. It was quite annoying to see that no one was really punishing these picks. It's like, look, this champion is really bad at level 1. Why don't you just walk into their jungle? Sadly, not something that Brand can really do. You kind of need a couple of levels yourself too, so it kind of evens out in this case. Then the question becomes, well, if you're waiting for level 3 to start impacting the game, what do you get out of it? Right now, of course, Brand is one of the best junglers in the entire meta. Does a bit of everything. If you over-engage into him, he can win a team fight by himself with that Pyroclasm later on. But Vi can get very, very powerful ganks earlier into the game than Brand can in the same way. So Tianjin, a little bit of an onus on him to say, get yourself impacting that game and into these lanes.
Ppgod trying to fight for the level 2 early. Starry will be able to finish that wave. Off hook goes in wing. Ooh. Within a pixel, I think, there of the hook. That could have been disastrous for EDG, but they do walk away. Similar story on the top side as OMG getting prio in all 3 lanes to start this one off. That's definitely nice for Tianjin to start his game off.
That really helps because I remember the last time that Vi was in meta, some of the LPL streamers were kind of talking about, well, okay, what's happening with the Vi pick, and it's just like, some people have really goodVis, but you get to look good at Vi when you have winning lanes, because again, it protects those early levels, and then you can start leveraging off of winning lanes to make the real kill plays, because Vi can hard force so well. Tianjin gets himself free first to clear, and with 3 winning lanes, again, it makes it even easier, but also all the more important to say, you have been given this platform to do something early. Go do the thing. He needs to really get on the board soon and see if he can get into the face of one of these lanes.
See if he can, as he finishes his clear off. He is going to be slightly behind the Brand, but
understandable.
Not that far behind. I think closer than I necessarily would have expected, because Brand is pretty damn quick. It's pretty damn quick. EDG, though, going to be able to clear vision in the bot side as Tianjin finishes his Gromp off. I think that this is a scuttle crab that Tianjin could realistically contest for. He's got mid prio from Angel, but I don't think Angel's going to move over. And with Wink there as well, Jiejie will secure the crab. Tianjin sent up to the top side to get a crab of his own.
It's a bit of a mistake from Starry and Ppgod. Well, a little bit of a mistake. The fact that the hook missed in that last trade as the wave was crashing in with a level 2 to level 1 means that Starry and Ppgod can't keep Leave and Wink at lower HP, can't keep them under Terror. They get to bounce the wave back to the other side of the map as the time the Scuttle Crab spawns, which means that Leave and Wink get to help out Jiejie. The fact that hook misses might have had a bit more implication than maybe we expected at that time. At least Tianjin gets himself towards that top Scuttle Crab, but still would have been nice to secure themselves a win there.
Angel tried to use the Piercing Light to stop Cryine's reset, but wasn't quite in range, but I guess Cryin just thought it hit, and he cancelled the reset anyway, so mind games from Angel in the mid lane.
Was it? There was that, for those of you who want to revisit a little bit of like League community history, I think it was Skara that had that really famous, it might have been QPoke, one of the big NA streamers back in the day was playing Malphite, had flash ult, and just flashed and stood in place, didn't ult, and everyone flashed away from him. It's like, that is how you assert dominance. The mind games were really strong that day.
Yeah, I want to say it was QPie, but it might have been Skara. One of the big boys anyway, as EDG make a play onto the top side, and Hery, and he's got flash, he is going to use it, and then sidesteps away from the knockup. He does go down in the end. Not sure flash was necessary.
I don't know, it got a little bit close after that point, but all to say, what's the grand total of things? You've got 2 summoners from the side of Solokill, you've got the flash and the teleport made for that one. Wink uses the exhaust. Hery burns both of his summoners on the other side too. Important win there from EDG to at least get that kill. Sad that it doesn't go over to Solokill. We saw Ala just yesterday run over a Renekton versus Kennen matchup against Shanji in the AL NIP series. you do need a bit of effort to make sure the Renekton can get ahead of the cannon. The cannon really does dunk on the Renekton up until you get a couple of ganks and you get significantly far ahead. This could be the start of something bigger. OMG, they respond by going towards this bot side. They're going to start up this dragon. But it's not like EDG don't have members in place here if they want to maybe put their heads into that river. But with the wave crashing in at the same time, they're just going to leave it. Better safe than sorry.
Angel doing a good job of consistently managing to threaten enough onto Cryin to force these waves in the mid lane as well. Does set up. Leave was real close to that W. The timing, immaculate considering it was blind. But Jiejie does get the smite and grabs himself the first Drake. So, solid start here from OMG. EDG made the one play up towards top side. And it looks like Jiejie does want to go towards these grubs. Hook in the bottom side, but a double knockup from Wink means it's a winning trade for EDG. Unfortunately, Leaf did use his barrier.
I think he just wanted to deny some of the ignite damage. It's not the biggest. I mean, at that point, just, you know, pull it earlier. I think it's always better to use the barrier earlier because otherwise you end up missing a load of that burst trade. So, EDG, they've had fairly topside focus. They've tried to shut down the cannon just a little bit. They get themselves all 3 grubs. Brown, of course, takes them very, very quickly. Getting to a really important part of the game now where we're getting Vi to level 6 and you're getting to the point where OMG, they still have some lane dominance to work around before the first kind of big resets and the big items come into play. In fact, we just get those level 6 taking in right now. So, Jiejie had himself those 3 early winning lanes, has himself that level 6. Time to pay them back at this point. Want to see if Jiejie can get himself involved somewhere.
Jiejie looking towards that bottom side. That's where he wants to get involved, although Angel maybe has an all-in chance against Cryin. Cryin steps upwards, dodges the culling. Now the dive at the bottom side as Jiejie looks to get that lock-up, leave the target here. Ults early. And actually Jiejie just holds on to his cooldowns, but Ppgod is so low on HP. Walks away with his life. I love the patience from Jiejie, though, not to blast the ultimate.
It could have really looked a bit awkward if Ppgod did die in that attempt. And now the problem is he has now shown himself on bot side where his entire top side quadrant is up. He might go towards mid lane, flash ult potential.
Jiejie's in the area as well. Jiejie going to go for Raptors instead as Angel clears the wave. Jiejie was definitely ready for a scrap there. He's moving over towards the red buff. I think this is going to be a full-on quadrant trade between the junglers.
Yeah, and Jiejie, I wonder if he just kind of stuck, because he did, again, hover back towards mid lane. Jiejie was, he knew that Jiejie was on that bot side of mid lane. So it's just going to be, what, Raptors taken by Jiejie, not going to stick around for the other quadrant. Jiejie gets red buff and Raptors, and he's also not stopped. Ppgod, he will know he's in the area because the red buff just died just now. But it does mean that Jiejie is going to get a camp advantage, and that in itself is a win condition for a Brand. Brand getting farm is completely reasonable to look towards.
It certainly is. Ppgod about a pixel away from that ward at red buff as well. But the sweeper didn't quite spot it, so he didn't know he was spotted on the top side either. Solokill with the wave pushing away from him. He'd love to get this crash. Jiejie is up in the top side of the map right now, so it could get a little bit spicy for Solokill if he sticks around for too long. And struggling to find that impact using the ultimate.
Yeah, so that's a big problem because you are going to get towards a point where things are going to get really quite difficult for OMG to pick off certain people on EDG. Particularly whenever Jiejie has agency, I get really worried for his opponents because Jiejie is still really, really good, despite that EDG have had middling performance. We're going to get to a point where Brand, so he's going to get the Liandry's first item. We'll see, no, Jiejie's getting out safely there. But I think if he stops off just for a Seeker's Arm Guard beyond that Liandry's, then goes into Rylai's and then just finishes off that Zhonya's afterwards, it's going to be really hard for OMG to lock him down. And if you can't lock down the Brand and he gets his full combo off, I'm pretty sure OMG lose any fight. They're not even that tanky. Even if they were tanky, Brand doesn't really care because he is one of the best tank killing champions in the game. I think if OMG don't accelerate the game before Stopwatch and Zhonya's is available for Jiejie, I think the game gets really, really difficult.
I think it's easy to forget when Vi was kind of better every game alongside Wukong. When we think like MSI last year, you know, these picks were so insane. Seeker's Arm Guard is kind of a hard counter to ulting into the middle of everyone and then suddenly not getting that pick, and then suddenly Vi is just stuck in. She's kind of like Jarvan, you know. When you're in, you're sort of in. Like, there's not much of a way out again, and you're not that tanky on Vi, so if Seeker's
the only difference is she doesn't shout Demacia, I guess,
Oh, she shouts Fires for violence or something? Powder, I guess. I don't Hey, wait, is that the Vi from Arcane, actually?
Oh my goodness, is that Vi from Arcane? Incredible.
New season
Can we
coming
get
out
an
soon.
autograph?
I
True,
actually
true.
cannot wait for that to come on.
You know, so they said that Arcane, that's going to be the end of the Arcane arc. We're going to get the grubs taken by EDG. I don't think we're going to see a contest. Maybe. Well, look, I'd love to talk about Arcane at some point, but let's make sure there's not a fight first. Jiejie does have ult. Are we doing Safari League of Legends? Are we just watching him take it? Going over for the steal of the last one.
Okay, but the spike comes through from Jiejie. Anyway, Ppgod with a hook onto the backline, leave the target here as Wing tries to get the charms out, and Ppgod falls. Solokill looking for more, doesn't flash over the wall though. I thought he was going to hunt there, but instead just zones everyone away. EDG make a beeline towards the bot lane potentially. Drake is up right now, and maybe could find double objectives.
Easy as you like for EDG. Get in, get the grubs. Now, Tianjin does have his ult. Might be able to get someone, but it's really hard to follow up. They don't have Starry quite in follow-up range. Cryin does have his flash, and he has his Valkyrie. OMG just can't quite pull the trigger in the right way. They are going to get themselves towards the spot side dragon. EDG not going to stick around long enough to contest towards that one. I think that is fine, despite the fact that they won that kill on the top side. They don't, again, want to try their luck with the Nautilus hook, Nautilus ult, and then Vi also following up.
So Drake does go the way of OMG. Enough threat as Tianjin continues to use that Vi ultimate, holding on to the cooldown, waiting for that perfect moment. And we'll see if the perfect moment ever arrives for him. I feel like it's a much easier cooldown to use when you've got things like an Ari, things like a Talia within your composition. You don't necessarily have that like obvious follow-up tool. They've obviously got damage, but the easy follow-up CC is what you often look for with a Vi. Unfortunately, the smite not quite landing.
Yeah, and Ppgod, it's a good hook going to a good target. It's just the problem is, Wing just immediately bull rushes forward and says, okay, I can take half my HP. I'm not the one that's hooked. Leave is realistically not in any danger. He takes a bit of damage from the Nautilus, but he has the barrier anyway. OMG just can't quite combo up onto that single target. Sadly, Jiejie was also not in position to follow up beyond that point. This is probably a good time to have a conversation about the way that some of our other LPL teams have been playing and how that applies to our teams here. Because I think OMG, when they look for that kind of play, they need really well-timed follow-up to make it into those big engages. I think some top laners have done really, really well at that. I think YSKM has been showing this again, Xiaoshu, where every time an engage is happening, they're also in position to affect the fight too. In that fight, Hery couldn't quite manage to do that. If that continues to happen, this team composition is going to look really, really poor in the late game. The Kennen needs to be part of this big engage because he's the only AoE CC. And Hery has struggled with that in previous games on the Kennen.
Kind of need to see a big game from him, don't we? Kennen's such a powerful pick in the right hands. And I feel like Hery wants to prove that he is the right hands. You know, he's a player that hasn't necessarily made his mark on the LPL just yet. He's a player that I don't necessarily think many people look towards him as being a big carry for the side of OMG. He's been given the opportunity, he's been given counter pick in that top lane, and we'll see if that can lead to something a little bit more in these fights. He's got a 700 gold lead, it's just converting that then into a win for OMG. All things considered, in regards, though, it's still fairly even. Only 1,000 gold ahead at the 14-minute mark here for EDG.
It is, but that gold is on the brand, and that really scares me, because what do we say? As soon as Brand gets a Seekers, this game is really hard to play out for OMG. Now, he might delay it until beyond that Riley's, because there's two problems in this. Brand, Zyra, the burn champions in the jungle are really a lot tankier than people expect. Because you get a decent HP component from Leandra, you get a decent HP component from Rylai's as well. You get double HP items as a mage, and then if you go towards a Zhonya's or something like that afterwards, you are much tankier than, say, I don't know, what's another mage champion? Something like a Syndra or an Orianna at some points. I guess Orianna's got the shield, so maybe that's not the best example. But, like, the fact that you get double HP items into something like a Seekers makes it much harder to pick compositions into you. Even at this point with the Leandries, it's quite hard to get that to work. Angel's going to walk up, Tianjin's on the top side, but they can't really force the fight in the 2v3.
At this point, Jiejie wishing he could build Will of the Ancients, and then he'd be a true tank coming out from the jungle. And then you run things like the Kennen top lane, and they get the aura, and they get to pop off as well. You run a bit of Vladimir mid. You know, oh my god. The double aura combo, where you get your own aura and you get one other aura. Oh my god. Take me back. Take me back.
For the arena enjoyers out there, you could build Bloodletter's Curse, which is effectively AP Black Cleaver, but has resist on it for some reason. That item is really strong in Arena on Clan too. probably a good reason it's not in Summoner's Rift for that, because having resist and like AP Black Cleaver is quite powerful.
Yeah, I feel like the game devs of League must have a lot of fun doing Arena, because you can go for these augments and you can make items that are just completely broken without it mattering too much. Where, you know, there's a bit of backlash in League of Legends when an item's too strong and whatnot, whereas with Arena you can have a little bit more fun from the balance perspective.
I can imagine the scenes if Hellfire Hatchet made its way into Summoner's Rift, which is, for those of you that don't play Arena, for those of you that don't play Arena, you know, it's a lethality item with a burn and also has Omnivamp. Can you just imagine how annoying champions like Senna would be with that? It's not okay. There is a time and a place to use these. It is not in Summoner's Rift. All the same, it does kind of feel like OMG, regardless of those items not existing for someone like Brand, it's still going to be really problematic with just the regular ones too. He's getting towards the break quickly. They're going in with 6 grubs onto the side lanes. That is a win condition of itself. And OMG, they can't even wave clear this. They're not here in time. Hery's not using his ult to clear the wave either, and something like that. And suddenly, Cryan's got a lot of gold. Jiejie manages to participate in that too. I do think it's the right decision to funnel damage gold into the Brand, particularly because of that item build power as we get later on. OMG, they're just kind of spectating this game. They haven't made a play with the Vi, even though they had the early winning lanes. This is not what you expect out of this comp.
At this point, we are on Tianjin ult watch. He's level 10 at this point, still hasn't gone for that ability. Leave with some controversial positioning there, but there was no vision in the brush, so OMG can't capitalize. EDG look to grab themselves their first Drake of the game. It would be third for OMG if Tianjin can steal this one. Could just have a fight for it as well. Angel moving over. That's a TP quite deep from
that's a TP.
Solokill here.
Oh,
but
no.
the hook hits the wall instead from Ppgod. Colin comes in, and it is EDG to get the Drake. Here goes the slicing maelstrom on 4 members of EDG. Hery gets his moment, but is the follow-up good? Tianjin got onto Jiejie on the back line, but it's only a 1-for-1.
How is that only a 1-for-1? Hery gets an ultimate. Look, every ultimate was used in that fight. Starry's wants to come back off a cooldown, but OMG can't quite make things work. They don't find the carries. They don't find themselves the Dragon Steel either. EDG walk away with even more gold. They walk away not fearing the soul coming in early, and a lot of this just feels like OMG just didn't hit the mark at the right moments. The hook misses on the teleport. That's a bad enough start. But then after this point, what happens in regards to their big combos? Tianjin goes in for the steal, doesn't hit the Vi Q, and he's delayed in his big combo. He tries to go onto Jiejie to stop him getting a big combo, and I understand that. He's trying to stop that Pyroclasm is a big thing, but it means he's not there to combo up with the cannon too. And OMG just kind of split their damage, don't really get much done.
Bit unfortunate for OMG, and it's off the back of a really unfortunate hook from Ppgod to start it all off. If you manage to just CC up Solokill there, I think you do just find an early kill in the fight, and maybe it turns things around instead in your favor. But OMG, unfortunately, lose control, don't get to stack that third Drake, and now EDG with 6 scrubs, with a Drake denying the stacking as well, with a bit of a gold lead. Everything is feeling pretty hunky-dory for them, and we talked about what EDG have been doing so far this year. Slow and steady really does win the race for them.
Yeah, and you know, this is a team which has struggled with their team fighting. The fact that the first one's worked out pretty well for them, that's a good thing. And the fact that, you know, Jiejie doesn't even die in that fight with a Vial cast onto him, that is quite poor form from OMG, which is sad to see, because, yeah.
I've just realized, Jiejie was like, wait a second, I didn't die to the Vial in the previous fight. Who needs Seeker's Arm Guard? Give me a giant spell. I'm going Rylai straight away.
It's like, whatever, who needs that stasis? He'll probably go for it eventually. He just feels like, yes, let's get that slow burn, kind of obnoxious double HP item combo all the same. Yeah, he just kind of flashes out the back end of the pit after taking the dragon, goes about his merry business, and realizes that, let's be honest, he uses that flash, but Tianjin, Hery, and a whole bunch of other people use their flash too. By the next time they're up, his will also be available. It's not like he's lost himself even that much, very nearly at 2 items already, almost 1.5k ahead of his opposing number. Jiejie is so happy in this game.
Wink finds a knock-up for Ppgod. I think the CC chain reasonably obnoxious from the Rakan, but Ppgod does manage to flash himself out to safety. And now Starry has to try and defend this mid lane all on his own. There's not many minions, but I don't think it's going to matter with the grubs coming in, or mites, sorry, coming in as well. That will be mid-tier 1 taken from EDG, so nice pick from Wink to sell for an objective.
Yes, it is looking an awful lot like Brood War out there. The Zerg Rush hitting that outside outer turret there in the mid lane. It is.
Wait,
I have to say,
six pool? Oh my god! It suddenly all makes so much sense.
OMG must construct so many additional pylons at this point. They are falling so... Look, I wish I knew more about StarCraft, because I need to go back and watch so many things. Like, pay respect to our forefathers in the esports scene. But, yeah, when you got those 6 grubs, it is really, really hard to play against them. It's so easy to, like, after you win a fight, to just run over an entire side of the map. It is quite obnoxious.
Yeah. I feel like at this point, with the way that EDG are playing, grouping up, charging forwards, OMG going to start borrowing some Banelings. That's the strat at this point. When all the Zerglings group up, charge over forwards, suddenly the whole army dies. And then you go in. Mutalis harassing the mineral line as well. Take down some of those workers. That's what I'm talking. I used to be Diamond back in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah?
It's a long old time ago, but...
Did you ever reach Diamond in League, Joe?
Not just yet. But we're working on it.
Okay, we'll work on that one. Did you know that? I feel like this is a bit more of a well-known fact about that. StarCraft was initially a Warhammer 40k game. It was meant to be a Warhammer 40,000 game, and then they lost the IP very close to production. They thought, well, we still got to go through with it. So Terra's meant to be Imperium. You had the Zerg were meant to be Tyranids, and you had, I believe, the Protoss would have been Eldar at that point. They just did their own thing with them. They did quite well for it.
Do you know, you can see the resemblances, definitely. I thought that at the time, that the Tyranids and Zerg were, like, very close to IP infringement.
Jiejie wants to fight. Let's go!
Down from Jiejie, Jiejie the target, and he survives once more. The depth charge used after the fact, as well as Solokill now enters the fray, but it's a little bit too late for the party.
I love how Wink is playing this. Every time someone is diving beyond him, even though he is but a Rakan, which is not necessarily the tankiest champion, he is tanking like the entire culling and all of the skill shots flying after. So it's just Tianjin or Ppgod or someone like that going forward. He's protecting his carry so well, and what did we say? Once Jiejie gets to the 2 HP items, plus his Zhonya's, he hasn't even got towards that yet. He's quite hard to kill because of the extra HP behind him. It's going to be another Dragon to EDG, another failed engage by OMG. Just look how Wink plays this out. The initial engage comes through, but like, Wink immediately just says, okay, I'm walking forwards, I got my celestial opposition, let's tank up some skill shots and save my carry. I love this play from the support.
I've got to be honest, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about OMG as a roster, not just in terms of this game, in terms of this split, because, you know, before this, they had XiaoFang, who you ban the Viego and suddenly he really struggles in the game. Now they've got Tianjin, who you ban the Rengar, and it feels like he's having a bit of a struggle in the game. It's not a good look for OMG, is it?
No, not necessarily. And, you know, we've had so many roster changes across LPL midway through. That's another topic of conversation. We've had so many changes. It feels like a lot of them are meant to be just kind of like, well, let's flip a coin and see if it changes something for the roster. Bringing in someone like Tianjin, yes, you have those obvious upsides of that one trick. You can see that he's really struggling alongside the team to pull the trigger. They might have to do so now. Baron's going down.
Tianjin, can he find the smite? He's going to get into the pit. 2k on the Baron. They continue,
oh!
and he gets it. Tianjin redemption here as he gets the ult onto the byline as well. And Hery arrives. The moment is nigh for OMG. Baron plus kills. Leaf dives in, but he goes 1v4 and he's taken down.
OMG, just as we're saying, oh, maybe the roster swaps, they don't matter too much. It's still the same problems with the same organization. They get themselves the moment to break open this game. The Baron steal, kills afterwards, 4 people dead from EDG, courtesy of Leaf, packaging himself into OMG's backline. And OMG can absolutely explode into the lead.
We made the fundamental mistake of believing that EDG wouldn't throw the game. And they 50-50 the Baron. Tianjin grabs it and then gets the ult on the backline. And then Hery gets his hero moment. That slice of Maelstrom. I mean, phenomenal across the entire team.
So, Hery, this guy gets such a big ultimate out of it. Look, I understand rushing the Baron. This is fine, but don't put it down into smite range like that so easily. This is just a 100% a flip. Hery doesn't even need to go massively far forwards. He teleports into the pit. He doesn't have to get over the wall. And yes, the brand damage is insane on the way back, but it's not enough to determine this team fight. We've seen this quite a lot from the young AD carry. He has tried to make the big hero plays like a Jackalope or an Uzi or whatever. He just hasn't been able to execute on them.
I got real close, but it's actually because PP got hooked the wall instead of hooking leave. That's 2 fights this game where Ppgod has prioritized walls over his opponents. Although prioritize probably not the right word. I think he's trying to do it, but it's not really about whether or not you're trying to. It's about what actually happens in the game. OMG, though, back on the scoreboard, and suddenly they're the ones ahead of gold.
So, EDG, they have to play from behind the game for the first time. Jiejie doesn't have that Seekers yet. That is such an important item. And yes, that's going to be an ult onto Hery. It's going to explode!
Decisions coming through, OMG! They flip a switch and they are fully in charge now. Jiejie happy to lead that charge too, as OMG look for a tier 2 at the bottom side.
Yeah, that's what happens when the brand doesn't have the stasis. By the way, you get absolutely popped. Finally, we're seeing OMG consistently pulling the trigger. Going to use the last bit of their Baron power play to get a 7,000 almost Baron power play. What the hell? I've very, very rarely seen a Baron power play reach those kind of numbers. Yeah, Jiejie, poor positioning here, knowing that there's there's fog of war to the top of this tower, just gets completely blasted. And yes, the turnaround damage is really good, but no one is there to follow up. Leave's not there on the Kai'Sa to be the extra DPS source. And if that brand goes down, you can see exactly how little EDG can do in the rest of the fight.
I love this Kennen pick as well alongside the Vi. Like, the Vi sets up for the single target engage. Cryin actually is in big trouble on the bot side. Oh, Ppgod hits yet another wall. It's not going to matter, though, as it will be Angel to finish off a kill, and now Starry can continue to push this advantage.
Yeah, you know, I know there's the phrase, nothing but net, where you only hit your shots. This is nothing but wall from Ppgod. Not really sure that's in the same kind of tone, though. Either way, hasn't particularly mattered somehow. He ends up getting that kill all the same. OMG continuing to roll from play to play at this point. Jiejie does have that Seekers now, but is it too late? The damage might already be done. Towers are falling. They don't have Cryin on the map, and OMG might have just swung a death blow in this game.
I cannot believe OMG are back in this one. Ppgod with the permanent dono wall, except instead of talking, he's hooking. But at the end of the day, it somehow worked out for OMG. Jiejie and Hery setting up these engages, and then Angel and Starry just able to sweep these kills up. You see both of them flawless KDA on this one. Playing from the brush here. True Shot Barrage goes through. Culling is there as well. EDG so chunked. And Hery has a Mega Blast Cone to get into the action once more. But he just dies. He doesn't even get to use his ultimate. And EDG, they've somehow... I don't understand. How did they win?
Huh? Hery just doesn't get his ult off. Somehow he must have been CC'd in the middle of that play. Things got so messy, it was quite hard to tell with all of the overlapping particles. OMG, they're retreating. This is going to be Dragon available, teleporting back in.
They waited in the brush. Angel dives over to try and get damage in. Cryin TP Solokill behind enemy lines as well. And that's going to be Angel eradicated. Solokill walks away with his life. And EDG, they'll look towards the Drake. That'll be their 3rd in a row.
Oh, and it's a Song of Ice and Fire. It's a game of throws. Both teams in the lead and handing it over to their opponents. And in this game, I guess you either do win or you die. No idea how EDG walk away with that one. OMG overstay after losing so many people in this jungle fight. How the heck does the cannon not get the ult off? No, Wink is fairly tanky with the Celestial opposition, gets that damage reduction. We did say that Jiejie does have that Seekers, he does have the double HP. He manages to get himself into a position where he can get himself just out with that stasis, and Hery gets CC'd before he can get through. Jiejie, that Seekers, may have just saved the game.
So Wink gets his quickness off and then turns it into a knockup as well. Great stuff from the Rakan of Wink. And then denies this initial engage, forces a flash out from Angel as well, and then Solokill arrives to finish the job.
Yeah. And in case it wasn't obvious, we've been talking about it a lot this game. I think Wink is like really, really MVP of this game. That's if EDG come through to a win. But I think that Wink's play to defend his carries and to play like this backline, like frontline to backline, dragging people back into the team, but being so disruptive has been so, so important. Now the point where the gold is about even-ish. That is a very LPL gold graph, and we see whether OMG can still hold on to this lead. Not sure if Jiejie's got himself that Zhonya's just yet. No, indeed, he doesn't, so he won't be able to use that stasis again. In fact, he stopped off with the Oblivion Orb, which I feel like is a huge mistake here. He needs that stasis. OMG, now they're going to go towards the Baron.
Gold is basically even. Dragons are basically even. Baron started here by OMG. This game has been a journey, but 30 minutes in, the two teams are within touching distance, and it becomes just about an even series here. Hery looking for a flank. on the top side of things, going a long way around to make it happen.
Yeah, Cryi's trying to spot him out, use the Frost Bomb, some vision. That's great damage from Angel onto Solokill. Starrick's down already. Wink caught a little bit. Hery still off vision.
Celestial opposition procced from Wink here. Baron down to half HP. Hery looks for the chance. Has the rocket belt, has the flash, has the flank. 3k on the Baron as the fight starts. Cryin, the target, and Hery gets into the backline, but he doesn't quite have the damage to finish the job. Finally gets one, but it's 3v3 now. And suddenly we reset to even once more.
Because Jiejie's dead, there's no smite, so OMG can't go back to the Baron or anything. I was worried for a second that OMG had leashed the Baron over to EDG. And folks, you know, EDG versus OMG, it is a very historical matchup here in the LPL. Not gonna lie, it's seen better days in some ways, but in terms of excitement, at least it is still very much delivering in terms of that knife's edge tension. Solokill massively chunked out. Can't really appreciate his impact in this fight because he's kind of ended up getting chunked out so much. Hery doesn't quite get himself the combo he wanted to either. Doesn't get onto the get onto Leave and Cryin at the same time in the way he wanted to.
I feel like Hery was hunting there. Wanted all three in the ultimate, but splits in different directions and ends up with almost no one who commits to Cryin in the end. 13 to 10. Gold in touching distance. Drake is up in 2 minutes time. You can see soul point already for EDG. And against a Kennen, Chemtech ultimate, where suddenly everyone comes real tanky when they're low on HP, and that feels really hard to push through when your whole Vi combo is about finding that one shot, about finding that burst damage.
Also, another thing about the Chemtech Dragons themselves, they give heal and shield power as one thing, not massively relevant here. It works for the Kai'Sa ult, weirdly, and then also some of the Rakan stuff, but also gives you tenacity. Very rare to get tenacity in the game right now. It's been removed from a lot of runes, but now if you're sat there as particularly the Kennen, it's much harder to get your big combos off in the way that you would like to. That might end up being a big factor because there are 3 Chemtech Dragons stacked up for EDG, could potentially help people escape through Hery's ultimate.
Feels tense, doesn't it? A-Ram to the midway now. Edward Gaming, they've seen better days as an organization, but they were in control for most of this game. Solokill getting absolutely chunked out here by Starry, who's eating forwards. We've seen that a few times recently, and it's not usually ended well, but he's confident to try and start things off here. Baron aggroed, will try and get some hits in, but Bloodthirster works out. EDG just being bullied out of the river.
They are. They're trying to land some skill shots back. They have the Corki, they have the AP Kai'Sa, who has the Zhonya's themselves now. We talk about how important the Zhonya's is for the brand. That can be important here too. It's going to be another Baron start for OMG. Hery is spotted. No unseen flank. No flash this time either. Does he have a blast cone? That might help him find his own flank. Baron's down.
Hero so far, and the quickness comes on through. Cryin trying to follow up on his support, but Jiejie now dives into the mix himself. Gets the combo onto Leave, but Leave has the Zhonya's of his own as Hery is being 1v1 by Solokill. EDG might just have found their angle in the end. Angel trying to carry the fight, finds one, but that's a hell of a W from Leave, and the rocket to follow it up from Cryin as well. Starry and Ppgod on the wrong side of the map in no man's land, trying to escape. The Prey Seeker finds its prey once more. Leave looking to chase them down through the jungle here. Steps forward, Ppgod with a hook. Starry trying to find the 1v1, but goes down. Solokill for Leave onto the Ezreal as EDG barrel towards the Nexus.
I think both these teams are missing teeth. I think they got bloody noses, but I think EDG just about stay on their feet. They were in control of the game. They threw it back and have had to wrestle it back from the hands of OMG, taking away all the Baron buffs, taking the soul, taking this bot lane out in a turret, and getting themselves really back into the game. They are finally back in the lead, and I think they might have just seen OMG off for this phase of play. Go back to this replay. Wink once again being such an annoyance in the front line, and it does mean that because he finally gets to engage, it's Jiejie's ultimate which ends up getting used aggressively this time, rather than as he's getting dove onto. Talked about the value of the Zhonya's coming from Leave. Leave has a fantastic team fight. Talked about how the Kai'Sa can hide up some of his weaknesses. He has had a good team fighting game so far.
We've talked about Leave being this player that can be that mega damage per minute monster. He can carry team fights. It's just whether or not he goes for those big plays and try and turn the game, and sometimes go a little bit pear-shaped. But I mean, we saw that. The one death that he's got was exactly that. earlier on at, I think it was a Herald fight, maybe a Baron fight. There's been so many fights, it's hard to
I think
differentiate
it
them
was
in
the
my head.
Baron. Was it? Oh, it was the initial Baron throw. That was it. Yeah.
But either way, 6-1 and 6 at the end of the day. He's looking pretty good on this one. Not far off the full build at this point. EDG, the gold lead is insignificant, but the control of the map that they have, very powerful as they move up towards this top side now. Tianjin spots them. Will be able to get out with his life, I think.
So, Solokill's building up towards the Guardian Angel. We have Cryin, who already has that, and double Zhonya's for EDG. This is why the gold is a bit decorative right now. I think these items massively change the game. Yes, Hery also has himself a Seekers, but trying to defend against the big engage of the Nautilus, the Vi, the Cannon, those Zhonyas are going to be so important. And now you have the Zhonyas and the Chemtech Soul and the Tenacity from 4 Chemtech Dragons. It is really quite hard to get yourself a confirmed kill on one of these carries you're really aiming for from OMG. Despite the fact that it isn't that large a gold lead this late into the game, the extra bonuses and the meaning of the items really is.
It's actually impossible to get a pick, right? 2 Zhonyas, 2 GAs, and then Celestial opposition
Locket
for
shield.
Wing. Like, how the hell are you picking one single target as Tianjin? You're just not. Really smart builds coming out from EDG just to keep themselves alive in these late game fights. Looking to get cheeky here. Tianjin gives up the game by going for that extra plant, though. I think maybe they could have got a pick if they'd just been patient.
Maybe. It's quite hard to tell. I guess so hard. Well, we were just talking about how hard it is to do that.
Yeah.
I think which I want to talk about too, because, you know, Elder's not up for a little while. We might come down to an Elder flip. For Chemtech Dragons is also going to give you significant heal and shield power. We talked about the Tenacity, but when you have a Locket shield on Wink, and you also have the Guardian, and you also have your E-shield and the Q, Wink might get some unexpected heal and shields out of these late game fights. There is a teleport ward there. I'm aware that Hery has teleport and has flash, but trying to get a pick onto those carries with so much of this random extra buffs, which you maybe haven't accounted for in your scrims or whatever, because it's unlikely to get them, could be a game changer. The observers are really telling us there are great TP angles.
Yeah, they're storytellers, aren't they? 2 potential TP wards highlighted excellently there. But I think it's more about, like, we talked about Tianjin, we talked about Hery and what they can try and do to turn this game. I think we've got to look towards Starry and Angel as well. Like, beyond that initial engage, we need to see great positioning from Angel and Starry, and we need to see that late game AD carry damage coming on through and them shredding these health bars, because at the end of the day, Solokill will be a threat on that backline, but he's renekton. He's sort of running out of time to some extent. The AoE will be coming out from Jiejie. If Starry and Angel can position well, can dodge the CC chain from Wink, they have the chance to be the big carries.
Yeah, I think Solokill on his own is an annoyance / a delaying tactic. If there is a Pyroclasm that's made his way to the backline, then it's a kill threat, but you have to wait for that to happen. So again, real key on that positioning. Love that you mentioned that, because Angel and Starry, you know, I feel like Angel has been the standout player for OMG across the entirety of this year so far. I feel like he has been a hell of a player for them, even when they've been down in the dumps. Starry stepping into the footsteps, into the shoes of Abel, who of course departed this roster and is now on Team WE. On a roster elsewhere in the LPL right now, has had some bright moments too. You really need to make the most of this moment, though. Your late game AD carries, it's a hard game for sure, but you are still multi-item item AD carries. You have the damage to turn these fights.
Yeah. You know we're going late game when instead of choosing between Locket and Warmogs, our supports have Locket and
Both.
Warmogs and are headed towards further items as well. You see the Warden's Mail and the pocket of Ppgod. He's becoming an actual tank, not just a Celestial opposition tank at this point. EDG group up, Baron spawning onto the map. They have control of the area, sort of, but not a team really with full vision control.
So when we're looking through for the next team fights of the game, of course, this vision control is so important. Make sure that Hery doesn't get something for free. If OMG get Zhonya's for free, if they particularly catch out Jiejie or leave, and they have to use the Zhonya's poorly, and they have to flash poorly or something like that, then there are openings for OMG, but it's going to be really hard for them to force it. It's going to be really hard to get themselves big poke down, because there's just so much heal, shield, tankiness on the other side from EDG, and stuff like the Rakan shields can really help. The Baron's been started, it's being burned so quickly.
EDG have just got this for free, haven't they? Tianjin over the wall, can he find the flash smite once again? It's going to be another 50-50, and it's another win for Tianjin. He's caught though, he's overcommitted, and he flashes back out. That was just a Q into the pit, and somehow he lives on. Elder is spawning 15 seconds, he's got to reset.
What? Tianjin's killed 2 more Barons than he's killed people. He's 0-6 and he's killed 2 Barons. He doesn't care about the KDA. He just wants those objectives. The problem is, yeah, you give it over Elder, almost certainly over to EDG now. These Ws are so nasty. Just about doesn't steal that blue buff, but EDG, despite giving up Baron, have the better position.
This is going to be Elder Dragon for EDG right now as Angel dives in with a Blaster right into the middle of the mix, but there's no smite here. Elder taking Solokill, just buys time for his team. Ppgod burning, Jiejie will go down. No way. OMG looking to win a fight against Elder Dragon. Leave and Cryin have to carry. They've got Elder, but they're forced away.
How do OMG manage it? Somehow in what, the 4v5 around the Elder, they managed to find an isolated pick onto Solokill in the front line. Jiejie's Zhonya's was not good enough. It happens after he has taken all the damage. Now OMG, despite facing up against the Elder buff, are currently 4v2. The damage is there from EDG, but can they get it down? They might actually end up losing the game because the Baron minions are still there from OMG.
Leaf's damage is absurd at this point. OMG could try and end the game, potentially. Cryin chunked. Leaf flashes away from the hook from Ppgod. He hits a wall once more as Cryin underneath the
Hery!
Hery gets his moment, and Leaf is exactly what EDG will do. OMG finish the game in style and take #1.
EDG exit stage left as OMG take the stage. 1-0 in an explosive game. Was it clean? No, absolutely not. But I am on the edge of my seat. So many back and forths, and this is what you get from this grunge group, Nevada. You get close matchups where, no, they are not clean, but I am left waiting for the needle to drop somewhere.
The 50-50s after 50-50s for that Baron. Tianjin wins them all, but then it leads to Elder, but then Elder leads to kills, and then kills lead to the Nexus.
Wait, hang on. Did Tianjin just win a game?
Yeah. Yes,
stealing 2 Barons without killing a champion. Did he get a single kill?
No, he wasn't a part of the final play, right? I don't think he was there for the Elder fight. Tianjin just got, arguably, maybe even an MVP.
Yes!
Without getting a single kill. That is miraculous for OMG. We're going to jump into a break. Game 2 is going to be just as good. Don't go anywhere.